The more you try to secure his attention, the more you lose it. Not because you're doing too much, because effort in the wrong direction signals something he reads before you even hit send. It signals need. And need, no matter how carefully disguised, collapses attraction at the neurological level. You are told that showing up fully is a virtue. That consistency is love. That effort proves value. But here's the contradiction nobody warned you about. The behaviors you were taught to perform as love are the exact behaviors that terminate pursuit. Not because men are broken. Because attraction doesn't follow logic. It follows perceived value. And perceived value cannot coexist with visible desperation. Even elegant, well-intentioned desperation. Stay with me. Because what's coming will feel uncomfortable before it feels like clarity. You are not taught wrong. You are taught incomplete psychology. Be available. Be agreeable. Show him you care. Make it easy. Those instructions aren't malicious. They're just optimized for the wrong variable. Because availability doesn't create attraction. Polarity does. And polarity requires distance. Differentiation. The psychological experience that someone exists in a world you haven't fully accessed yet. When you over-explain, over-text, over-accommodate, you don't become easier to love. You become easier to overlook. The brain only assigns value to what it has to move toward. You've already felt this. Something wasn't working, and you responded by doing more effort, more warmth, more access. And it still didn't hold. That's not a character flaw. That's an incomplete model running on full power. Mechanism. Overavailability eliminates perceived relational scarcity. When a man can access you emotionally at any time, with zero friction, the neurological drive to pursue flatlines. Not because he's strategic. Because the brain doesn't prioritize what's already secured. Behavior. Instant replies. Rearranging your schedule. Being emotionally on call. Explaining yourself when he goes quiet. All of it reads the same way. I have more invested in this than you do. Identity shift. Old belief, being available shows I care. New belief, I don't prove value through access. I filter access through value. And this is where it gets dangerous. Because most women interpret his retreat as a signal to give more. When the actual signal is, give less. Take up more space inside your own life. Here's a question most women never ask themselves. Are you attracted to him? Or are you attached to the version of him you're hoping appears? These are not the same thing. Attraction is present tense. It responds to what's actually in front of you. Attachment is future tense. It invests in potential. In who he could be if you just stayed patient enough, loving enough, available enough. Mechanism. Attachment activates the same neurochemical loop as anxiety. Dopamine spikes on uncertainty. The less consistent he is, the more psychologically consuming he becomes. You're not deeply in love. You're in a variable reward cycle. Identity shift. Old belief, my feelings are proof this is real. New belief, intensity is not intimacy. I measure connection by consistency, not chemistry. This is where most women misread everything. Pursuit is not about playing hard to get. It's not strategy. It's not performance. Pursuit is the natural byproduct of a woman who is genuinely more focused on her own direction than on managing someone else's attention. That's it. When you are actually living, not performing, living for his benefit, something shifts in how you occupy space, in how you speak, in what you tolerate. Men don't pursue women who seem to need them. They pursue women who seem complete without them. Not cold. Not distant. Complete. Mechanism. Psychological gravity. When your center of mass is your own life, others orbit, they don't have to be chased. Behavior. You stop performing availability. You stop explaining your silence. You stop translating yourself for someone who hasn't earned that depth. Identity shift. Old belief, if I pull back, he'll think I don't care. New belief, my withdrawal isn't a tactic. It's a standard. Here's the uncomfortable part. Everything described in this video, the overavailability, the attachment loop, the pursuit inversion, you already sensed. You felt it was off. You felt the dynamic shift the moment you leaned in too hard. But you overrode the signal. Because you'd been taught that love requires effort. That devotion looks like sacrifice. That a good woman stays and adjusts and tries harder. That teaching didn't protect you. It just made you more skilled at abandoning yourself elegantly. And the man who benefited from that? He didn't create the pattern. The pattern was already installed. Here is the only truth this video was ever about. The woman who gets pursued is not more beautiful, more agreeable, or more available. She is more anchored. She knows what she's building. She knows what she won't compromise. She knows the difference between a man who is curious about her and a man who is simply comfortable with her. And she never confuses the two. Pursuit is not the goal. Clarity is the goal. When you are clear about your value, your direction, your non-negotiables, pursuit becomes a byproduct. Not a strategy. A consequence. This isn't about fixing relationships. It's about no longer abandoning yourself inside of them. If you're done running emotional loops you never consciously chose, you already know where you belong. The women here aren't waiting to be chosen. They're learning to choose themselves so completely that the right people can't help but notice.